Hi, everybody. Welcome to a special session of The Joy of Poeting. I have my new poetry friend here, Martheaus Perkins, who will be doing a little demo on a poetic form called the Triptych. I'd like to read a little bit about Martheus. He was born to a single mother in Center, Texas. After a childhood in and out of homes in Houston, he graduated from Stephen F. Austin State University as a first-generation student. He is the recipient of the Robert Creeley Memorial Award, judged by John Keane, the President's Award by Voices, the GMU Reinhardt Fiction Award, and the Robert Raymond Scholarship. He co-edits Brawl Lit and teaches literature at George Mason University. Currently, he lives in the DMV with fellow writers of the International House of Poets. The name Martheus is a collection of each woman who raised him, Mar for his grandmother's nickname, Thea for his mother's name, and us for his big aunties. You can learn more at his website, martheusperkins.com. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Martheus. Thank you, Martheus. And I'm going to spotlight you.
Oh, thanks. Oh, look at the power. Look, I'm like in front of everyone. Well, hello. This is really cool. It's so nice to see all of your names. Thank you so much, Anne Marie, for inviting me. Thank you for the joy of poeting. It's happy that I get to share this joy with you. I'd also like to shout out Anne Marie because on my way I was actually reading Survived By, which is a book by Anne Marie. So there you go. Um, well, I'm gonna get in. This is so exciting because I saw what Emery was doing here, where she basically takes a form and takes a look at it and kind of describes it, and then at the end does something horrifying, which is actually right in front of you, right in front of the audience. I would almost rather do open heart surgery than right in front of people live, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I guess the first thing to ask is, can you see my Canva presentation? Can you see
Yes, we
Triptych
can see
Poems?
it. Yep.
Okay, you can see and hear me. Great. Yeah, and I think I'm supposed to have it fancy. Like I'm here, maybe there's a way that I can be right below it at the same time. Can you see me in the bottom corner? Did I make it work?
Yes,
Oh
we
my God, thank
see
goodness.
you and the presentation.
Great. Okay, great. I'm a college teacher. I teach literature and English, and so I'm all used to this like really awkward like Zoom and online speak. But anyway, enough of that. It's nice to see you all. Hello, welcome. It's so good that people came. This is making me so excited. Okay, let's talk about the triptych, right? Because it's real late at night, and this is like the best time to get cozy. Go get your popcorn or something like that. So these are stained glasses, and they will come in later as far as why we're talking about the triptych. But what is the triptych besides a very difficult word to spell on the first try? Well, it is in its kind of most basic sense in art. It is just artwork that comes in threes. It's usually triptych is actually something that we're borrowing from visual art as poets. But we first got triptych, the term triptych, for paintings and actually carved paintings. And so you've actually seen triptychs before in the wild, maybe scrolling on Amazon or what is it, Etsy, kind of last minute shopping for that friend that you haven't seen since college, right? And it's basically when you see it in visual art, you'll see it as art that's meant to be consumed together, but that's broken apart. So you'll see it here. You see like the cute little jellyfish right there in three frames. This actually goes back to the Middle Ages, where we first started speaking about triptychs. It was a Catholic thing, and it was used in these small. They were about handheld size things, and triptych is the translation just means trifold. And what they would do is they would have these paintings that you see before you hear. Um, and the kind of like the artistic point of it was usually to depict three different sequences, they call them. And so you'll have to help me out here, but you have the passion, the crucifixion, the resurrection, right? Or maybe that's the nativity and then the passion and then the resurrection. Someone will help me out there. But the point was is that you could have all these three things, and Christianity eventually, that the Trinity is important to Christianity. And the other important thing about the trifold was that you could like protect the art because it folded in on itself. And so it was a way in which people could travel and they could have these little homages and these little like murals, and they could put them up, and it was kind of a protective thing. Um, so then the poets, we did what we did. We stole it. We stole it. We made it ours, and then we didn't. We hope no one asked too many questions about it. And so the best way that I learn is I try to look for as many examples as possible. So the triptych is everywhere. It's not only in visual art and poetry. It's also in music. Here's something to listen to. Here I could like drop it in the chat. Don't listen to it now because it's super like sad actually. But I want to drop this in the chat. Let's see if I can do that. Max Roach did a oh, where's the chat button? Max Roach did a performance piece using the triptych form. You might be able to see that YouTube link and watch it after this. And he did a musical song within his album We Insist, and the song is 3 minutes long. And the reason it's 3 minutes long is because it's three songs in one. One song is prayer, one song is protest, and one song is peace. And when you listen to this song, I hope you're doing it alone or at low volume, because the middle part, the protest part, is just screaming. It's like almost incoherent, like loud, like it doesn't sound like anyone's having fun. Like, they might have been like ran out of the recording booth. It's like horrible screaming. And the idea, this album came out during the civil rights movement. So the idea was to show the kind of three identities that were taking place when you were fighting for civil rights. And so we see the triptych form everywhere. I'm actually going to read a poem from a good friend of mine, Taylor Franson Teal, from her book, which does have dinosaurs on the cover here, Bone Valley Hymnal. And so she's a Mormon. And so I don't, that information isn't necessary, but I just like to add it. She's a Mormon. I'm friends with Mormons. I'm all over the world. Love her to death. My best friend. So she has this poem called "Hymn for Accountability." I'm going to zoom out. On the page, it starts at 8, and then it goes to 18, and then it goes to now. I'm just putting it this way so you can easily see it, or at least relatively see it. I'll read it for you, okay? Hymn for Accountability. With dignity, age 8. Nile water for baptism. Lilies and cattails tickling calves. Wade in, sister. Be clean. Ferns along the riverbank whispering psalms of guzzling. Purity breaks in your body like a Stradivarius violin, limbs sounding cleaner the more you are played. That covenant to be could, calcified like scar tissue. As a child, you drug dandelions across forearms, yellow like holy sun, then risen from a river grave, becoming a black ash tree, craving font water like an only chance. A priest in white reminded Eve ate, now we all. He meant women must drown. At 18. The therapist asks, but what if you don't actually have to be good all the time? But what is the holy lotus of your body if not holy? Survival had always meant spotless fingers and a perfectly tuned ribcage, had always meant doing the good thing. What was in you if not God? Now, surely if God weeps, she has been weeping since she gave the world light to shine upon her waters. Wept harder still when she woke from her nap to find the apple bit clean through. You are not good, maybe never have been. Hear Eve whisper, might you choose that hell if it means you get to be more, if it means the water can recede and you will still be clean. So that's one from Bone Valley Hymnal. Some claps there. Okay, so here are my tips, right? This is kind of the form is really fun because it doesn't necessarily entail much. You know, a triptych is pretty simple, right? It's a poem that comes in basically three sections. It's or three poems that you've collected as one, right? It's a fairly loose kind of form. I do have some tips, you know, take it with a grain of salt. But use your we have like so many English teachers in here, so I'm like being watched, like all these vocab words that are happening right now. But you'll want to use your threads, or you know, in writing, the threads are kind of the images or the ideas or the people that are kind of going through the whole thing that you're using to try to make different resonance points, kind of like motifs. Use them surprisingly, right? You already have the kind of rule of three baked in, and so it's kind of a hard form because like if you let's say you have popcorn, right? You want for whatever reason you want popcorn to show up in all three sections. Well, by the third section, you know, we've already gotten it popcorn twice. So by the third section, your reader is already expecting popcorn. So this is even though, you know, it's kind of built in that you're supposed to use it three times, you can be surprising, right? So maybe in the third section, instead of popcorn, the traditional popcorn, maybe you take it to a cornfield and kind of play around with those sort of surprises. If you're surprising yourself, you're surprising the reader, and surprises how you stay awake. You know, sometimes I'm writing and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like gonna fall asleep because I know what's about to happen. It's like a movie that I've, you know, way too familiar with. So remember to, you know, keep awake and stay surprising yourself. The other thing is you want to rely on all the different poet words. Here you go. You rely on voice. Voice is a kind of like, you know, an academic word. But when I think of voice in writing, it's the personality of whoever's talking, right? So you rely on your voice, your place, which is a setting, time, POV, my Zoom screen is in the way. Oh, it's just the word and language to differentiate the sections. What I mean by that is you have three sections, right? And so you can use a variety of different tools to make each section its own, right? So the triptych, kind of the, you know, getting back to the roots of it, each painting can ideally stand alone. But ideally, you know, what's that phrase? The sum is greater than the whole of their parts. I don't think that's the real phrase, but you know, it's coming up to you, right? We're mightier together than apart, whatever the Three Musketeers phrase is. But the point I'm getting at is you do want to make sure that the sections can in their own way sing their own song, but you can use these different techniques to make them different from each other. So maybe there's a different personality in your first section than your third section. Maybe you're in a different place from your first or your second section. We just read a poem where Taylor, the poet, was using different times, right? So she went from when she was 8 years old to when she's 18 years old, and then she uses the term now, and she's in her 20s. She's in her mid 20s now. So she was using time as a way to differentiate the times in which she has heard that Eve story and has been thinking about her role as a woman within the church, right? So there's all different kinds of ways that you can differentiate these sections. Here's my last 2 points for the writers out there. In my experience, you don't start writing a triptych. Something becomes a triptych. You know, you're writing two poems and they both suck, or they're both just not cooked yet. And then you put them together, and all of a sudden now you can find the third poem. Sometimes you're writing a really long poem. Oh my gosh. And you have this set, you know, those poems that are so long that you have to have like section numbers? One, and then you do a poem two, four. You know, you're writing like your albatross poem, the ancient mariner poem where it gets really long. Um, and then eventually, you know, people say, "Oh, what if you cut it down?" And then you can cut it down into a triptych. Point I'm getting at is you might find yourself using the triptych as a revising technique. So that's one tip. And the last tip is juxtaposition. This is my favorite $4 word. Maybe you know this. Sydney Brookshire is here. She actually might have been there when I learned that word. She might have been in the classroom. But anyway, juxtaposition is one of my favorite words um, because it's a very simple meaning for a very complex word, right? It just means that you are using two things, and when they're put next to each other, they can say something in addition than just those two things in in a single place. Well, maybe that isn't very simple now that I say it out loud. But basically, the comparison itself is worth talking about, right? We bring two things together And the comparison itself is like a new third thing that's worth talking about, right? Okay, so there you go. Those are my tips. And now for like the scary part. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you, because like if this crashes and burns, then I can like at least like save it with a Ben Lerner poem, right? So just about, if you don't like the poem I'm about to write, you can read that in your own time. Just imagine I wrote that. It's a very long poem. This maybe Ben Lerner, needs an editor. This is a poem, y'all. Look, it keeps going. Look at that. Um, so anyway, that's a poem there. But we are gonna give it a try. I was really proud of this joke. Like try like three, The joke requires you to know your stem words, Like try three, come on, give it a try. No, come on. This was great. I can't hear anyone laughing, but I know you all are, I can't see you, but I just know you're all
I get the joke. It's okay.
oh, okay. Oh, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah. No, no. I like it. Just okay. Those are the best jokes. The jokes that are just okay. Anyway, we're gonna go to the doc Batman, which is another reference to a time that I wasn't alive. Okay, here we go. To the doc. Here we go. Anne-Marie, how do you do this? You just kind of go for it.
Yeah, so I usually write by hand, and so I have like
Okay.
a little notebook. But yeah, I sometimes, if I'm feeling stuck, I'll ask for suggestions from the audience about what to write about, and then I just kind of wing it. And I always, well, not always, but I often give the disclaimer that I am writing a poem. I didn't say I was going to write a good one.
It's very true. That's very true. Well, I agree with Anne-Marie's disclaimer. I'll speak a little bit about what's weird. So I don't use paper to write poems. All of my poems start at the computer, and so this isn't too weird for me. But I will say also, my poems like take 6 hours or to write. So I won't keep y'all here for 6 hours. Maybe what we'll do is we'll get the first swing at a poem, and then we'll go from there. And I'll ask y'all for lines, since there's so many great people here. So,
Like I do a lot of brackets, like
oh
I'll
yeah,
I'll write a word
good
like
line here.
beautiful and I put it in brackets like when I go back and revise I'm going to change that word, or like I'll put in brackets write something about blah 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 here. And
That's great.
yeah.
I like that. I like that. Well, okay, so I'll write a poem. I usually start with the title, which is not typical for a poet. Typically, the title is like at the very end. But I like this word, knuckleheads. And so I'll start from there. The reason that I'm thinking about this is because I'm actually here. I'm visiting my girlfriend because we needed to take our cat to the vet, and so anyway, she used it very affectionately, but she said I was being a knucklehead um because I didn't know how the litter box worked. So I like that term. And so we'll write a poem about that. Okay, knuckleheads. So I don't know. I'm kind of, I think it's because I read the Taylor poem, but I do like the idea of like, talking about using the triptych form as a way to talk about something that you've been going through your whole life at different ages. I quite like that. Um, I think that's kind of cool. But I don't want to infringe too much on her copyright. So I'll just try to do three times I've gotten in trouble, three times I've been a knucklehead. Typically um I typically look for words when I'm drafting. And the thing about the triptych that's kind of helpful, you can either start with the like section one, section two, section three thing. I typically when I know that I want to write a triptych, I actually do them simultaneously. You don't need to do this, but it is something that I do. And so I just added a column. And so it's something that I do, and I might even have a fourth column and collapse that into the third or the second. But that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm just going to start kind of like riffing here. So music is how we decorate time. That's a quote. That's not mine. That's Basquiat says that. Music is how we decorate time. I think I want this middle one to be like a childhood one. So I'm gonna make this like my younger column. I'm gonna make this like more musical. And I'll try to make this one more of an adult. Times that I've gotten in trouble as an adult. Okay, times that it's knucklehead. Okay, so oh, I have something. For my adult column, I like this line. I spit alabaster, oh gosh, all over the carpet. This is, I wish I was like Bob Ross. Like we could have some like colors and like we can paint our happy little trees, you know? A word art isn't I don't know. Maybe we can make that work. I really want to write a poem with Hulk hands in it. You know the I don't when did the Hulk hands come out? You know the big like the big green Hulk hands? I don't know if that's like me, my generation thing. I don't know, but I want to write if anyone had that.
I think
Matthew, are
like the
you
2000s. The
the
whole cast.
2000s?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
we appreciate that. Yeah, I was like, I had them. It was like wheelies, which I couldn't afford, and the Hulk hands. So I have a line there, um, chin checked by Hulk hands. Oh, there's people in the. I am old enough for sock'em boppers. Oh my gosh, I love that term, sock'em boppers. I don't know what a sock'em bopper is, but it's such a musical term that I'm just going to steal it. So okay, I already know. Okay, so there's like a lot of things going on in my head right now, but the idea is that I want this one to have this column here. I want it to be a trick column, right? So we were talking about how we wanted the surprise of the poem to work. So the surprise of the poem, spoiler alert, is that I want the one of the columns to be actually about my mother, right? So they're going to be all from the I perspective or all from a certain perspective, but two of them are going to be about me. The other one is going to be about my mother, but I'm not going to necessarily like, you know, I'll see how that works. But that's kind of like me thinking about the surprise of the poem. But now I guess I can just start writing. Okay, here we go. Gumbo hot. So there's a story that my mother tells me where, like, basically she just spilled the gumbo pot on Thanksgiving Day, and my mother's not a poet, but I do wish she was a poet because she has such good stories. Gumbo pot, biting chunks. Oh gosh, this is so scary. What is the time? Oh yeah. And then I like this idea of, you know, Mama bought me Hulk hands for my birthday, and I chin checked my cousin. I kind of like that. And then over here, I'm gonna make up a lie. Poets are not nonfiction writers, y'all. Girlfriend. I don't even drink, but let's see.
I say this all the time that poetry is not investigative journalism. It is not court oath that you can totally make stuff up, that it doesn't have to
Right.
be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So I'm gonna say I like that. I like that completely.
You do not know how freeing that is to hear that.
Oh, really? Oh, no one's given you like the permission to lie?
Well, see, I've been trying to like figure out like what it is that like is supposed to like I guess impression me. Like
Hmm.
when I read something, like what like do I see myself in that? So
No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. This is really intimate, y'all. I love this. This is like, I'll tell you what, no one is ever in the room when I'm writing these poems. So this is all very great. Um, yeah, line and poetry. Sock 'em boppers. More fun than a pillow fight. Where was I? Okay, okay. So that'll kind of be my in. Maybe that'll be like my the sock 'em boppers are the way to like start playing with time. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Gumbo pot biting chunks from the tile floor. My family always said tile floor, which now that I think is I don't know, that's like redundant, but that's what they said. Um, Split lips, eyes thrown slant, and then go to the dialogue. You better clean, you better clean that shit up. So we'll get there. Mama bought me Whole cans. Oh gosh, does Google, what is this? I never use whatever this is, Word doc, I think this is called, but it has like an inbuilt grammar fix thing. So like oh my gosh, it's like telling me how to write my poems. This is crazy. The takeover, the AI takeover. Anyway, Mama bought me Whole cans for my birthday. I don't like the and. We'll just use a line break. Mama bought me Whole cans for my birthday. I chin checked my cousin. I like the idea that, like, Mama bought me Whole cans for my birthday. I chin checked my cousin. Only 10 seconds out of the box. Okay. So we're painting three pictures simultaneously. Atlanta spilling. Oh gosh, I don't even like know the names of alcohol. I'm trying to like tell like a drinking story. I do like the names of alcohol though. I think they're quite funny, even though I've never had them. Atlanta spilling
You want some
fireballs.
ideas for names?
Yeah, do you have names of alcohols? I know Fireball, which I think is such a cool name. What Matthew, do you have like what's your favorite name for alcohol or that alcohol has?
Well, I don't drink, but some names that come to mind are Viridian, I think.
The Radiant or
No,
the Radiant?
Viridian.
Oh, Viridian. Sorry.
Viridian, yeah. Um,
Oh, that's beautiful. Never heard of that.
there's one called Moscato, I think. It's Italian.
Oh, gosh, I love that name.
Um,
Moscato. That's not at all an S or C.
hmm,
I'll take Moscato. I love that. Okay, so we'll go spilling. Spilling, Viridian, and Moscato on Atlanta's streets. Get
The only thing
home.
about Moscato is it's like soft blush drink. It's not really gonna do much for you. It's kind of like, it's like juice. It's like, I
Oh, it's
mean,
like juice?
like
Oh,
you want some Cristal or something like, something meaty, like, hey, you take some Mad Dog 2020 and you're smacked out, but a
oh, Mad
Remy
Dog 2020. I love that. I'm gonna
Remy
get
Martin or something like that. It just depends on, like, do you want the name of it to be the important thing, or do you want the actual effect of the alcohol to cause a reaction pretty quickly with you? So Moscato, you could probably drink a whole bottle and you're probably just gonna do nothing but pee, or but
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I'll use what I'll do is I'll bring Moscato over to here actually because I don't remember. I think it was just like normal it was I know what it was. It was Crown. It was Crown Royal, but my mother like had me try a little bit of Crown. And so what I can do is I can take that truth and I can bring it over to the middle section here, which is her, we can share. Moscato for the first time over in the middle section. But I appreciate your input. Yeah, I don't know if that's how it's spelled, but we'll leave that for like the third revision where I'll get the names of the alcohol right. But I do like Mad Dog 2020. I don't know if that's a real thing, but I kind of like that. Um, Spilling or spitting, kind of like spitting more because it reminds us that it's actually coming from our mouth. Spitting, Viridian and Mad Dog 2020 on Atlanta Street, get home only to spit alabaster all over her carpet. So that implies it's not mine. Okay, so we have three poems here so far of me getting in trouble. Okay. Yeah, the non-drinker. It's good to meet another non-drinker. Okay, I can keep going. And what I'll do is I'll just write until I get a kind of like central heart, and then I can like send us on our way, right? So gumbo, I'm gonna go over to the first one again. Gumbo pot biting chunks from the tile floor. Split, is that not spelled right? It's not. Oh my gosh, maybe I do need the AI. Split lips, eyes thrown slant. You better clean that shit up. Thanksgiving ruined. Thanksgiving, burned sausage on the floor. Mom bought me Hulk hands for my birthday. I chin checked my cousin only 10 seconds out of the box. So I'm trying to now start like emphasizing the threads. I would typically kind of just trust the writing to bring out those threads myself, but we're talking here about split lips over here. The person is getting hit in the face with split lips, and so those are the kind of thread the thread of the mouth. That's something that I can kind of start over. Um, I can. I'm also very silent when I write, I guess. Mama shared a thimble of Moscato with me. Wasn't all that. I also like this thread of kind of intimate moments with your family. I kind of like that kind of central painting, that even though I was in trouble, that there was always some kind of tenderness that was being shared or being used to either apologize for the moment or to heal for the moment. So I kind of like that as a thread. And so maybe over here, what I can use as a way to show the intimate family moments is I can talk about tonight. So I can bring here a moment where me and the her apply sponge rollers to our hair as a kind of way to have three different times in which we see these intimate, quiet moments with our loved ones within the poem Knuckleheads. What else can I do? I think this is like a really kind of a quite a long poem. And you're kind of getting really weird insight into what I do. I do want over here, bury me with acorns in my mouth, so a tree may sprout a better family tree. Oh. The reason that I wrote that line is because it got quite dramatic, right? Like okay, a kid, one of the pots out of the many pots that we had for Thanksgiving fell, and they hit her quite badly. They whooped her quite badly, and so I kind of am trying to get a line that might emulate the this is kind of a line of dialogue that we could have from one of our family members here. Um, that kind of shows really the harsh treatment that was given to her once she made a mistake. Because that's probably important that even when you make a mistake, if you sometimes it's a mistake to give a really harsh punishment because it might isolate your family. Or not, I don't know.
No, I think that's a good idea.
Interrupted the the boogie sugar, interrupted the boogie sugar with a splash. And I think kind of the way I draft, the way I write is quite sporadic, and I kind of write a lot and then I cut down. And so I'm sorry if this is like really erratic for you, but I think it's kind of cool. You get like insight into the madness. Um,
Yeah, you're doing great. Like the
oh,
whole
thanks.
point is to show the process and
Yes,
talk the audience through it, so then it makes it less scary for them to try.
yes. So, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. So there's this is a true story. I asked my cousin, you know, let's play Transformers out in the savannah. We can build and bring and cry. I didn't actually say that, but I did want to play Transformers out in the desert. And the problem we went a little, you know how you were told by your family, right? Don't cross this line, right? Don't walk past the telephone line, don't do this. And so in fact I'll add a little bit of context later, right? So, Mama said, right? So I can kind of build that within the poem. There's a line to cross, and yet the speaker and his cousin decide that they want to go play Transformers a little outside of the telephone pole, and so that's something that I could burn. I'm really having a lot of trouble with my third section, but so typically what I do when I'm having trouble is I keep a notebook, and I think I have it up actually. I keep a virtual notebook and I go here and I kind of find words. I'm going through it quickly because I have no idea you know, how vulgar this stuff is. But the idea is that I go here and I go throughout my daily life, and if I like the way something sounds, I write it down. And then eventually I'll just throw it into a poem and kind of see if that particular mouse can be an addition to the attic. Um, so that's what I'll do. Um, Although, okay, it seems like I do like this term, drive-through liquor store. And I'm going to, because drive-through liquor stores, shout out to Center, Texas, they're not everywhere apparently. I'm going to use this as a way to establish the scene here. And maybe that means that I don't want it to be in Atlanta anymore, if I want to give it a particular region within Atlanta. So I can keep going, but I think I don't know. Maybe I do want sock and boppers to be here. Music is how we decorate time. Maybe this can kind of be a central thing. Maybe I can use this as a way to tie them all together. But I think we found a better way to tie it all together with these kind of intimate moments. Like there's a mess up. There's a part where the speaker within that particular poem messes up, but there's also a point where they're forgiven, or at least they're shown the correct way to do things, and kind of that leads to a particular change. And so I kind of like that a little better for kind of like the heart of the trifold, the thing that you want to protect when you fold it up. Um, so let's see here. Can I make this like finishable in maybe 10 minutes? Maybe. Let's see. Gumbo pot. Gumbo pot spilling. Gumbo pot spilling because of my black hand. The sausage and beef bit chunks from the floor tiles, split my uncle's lip as he tried licking it from the tile, from the floor. And now get rid of floor up here. Auntie's eyes thrown slant. You better clean that shit up, she tells me. I'd interrupted. I'd interrupted Thanksgivings, Moogie sugar with a splash. I'd been playing with my, here they come. I knew they were going to come in somewhere. Boom. I've been playing with my sock and boppers. Missed my sister's. I cannot spell. Missed my sister's head. With the crock pot. It made my granny so mad. She said, when I die, if this child is still here, bury me with acorns in my mouth, so a tree may sprout a better family tree. Okay, we'll go back to that later. Mama bought me Hulk hands for my birthday. I chin checked my cousin only 10 seconds after opening them. Maybe opening the box. Bruised-lipped boys telling your mama jokes on the porch until cicadas called them home. Mama said, don't go past that telephone pole. I asked my cousin, let's play Transformers out in the savannah. So this is the moment here where the trouble starts. This is the moment here where the trouble has started. And then over here, let's do something. Center, Texas. Drive-through liquor store, spitting Viridian and Mad Dog 2020 on the streets, get home only to spit alabaster all over her carpet. Tried cleaning Let's see. What can I say? Tried cleaning the wrong. I'd added. That's not a very good line, but it is what it is. Tried cleaning the wrong. I'd added. Yeah, I'll use your bracketing idea, Anne Marie, and then her image. Okay, I think I can stop here because I think you get the idea of what I'm going for. And these three poems, they can kind of stand on their own. You can see that this could be a story about a kid, you know, messing up Thanksgiving with the gumbo. This could be a story about two kids playing and then they go off to, Transformers. And this could be a story about getting too drunk and then making a mess of things. But ideally, together, they can eventually tell a story with juxtaposition about the strength of resilience, the strength that happens when we forgive each other, the fact that we will make mistakes, whether we're young or we're old, but that we can still, show each other love. So that's kind of, it would take me hours to finish this poem, but there you go. You got to see Martheaus start a poem. I hope that was, some kind of useful. So there you go. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you, Martheus, for I don't know about anybody else, but I felt invigorated by that. And also it was really great to pass the responsibility of writing
Yeah.
on the spot to somebody else. So thank you for taking that spotlight. And before everybody leaves, I'm putting in the chat a link to Martheus's book that's coming out in July. It's available for pre-order through Trio House Press. And I was able to get a copy because we shared a mic a few weeks ago and I was able to read it, and it was a masterpiece. It was truly brilliant. I was looking for my copy. I recently redid my bookshelves and I can't find it. And I was like, maybe it's in my purse. And then it's not in my purse. But I was going to hold it up to show everybody because the cover is also so pretty. But I highly recommend if you want to treat yourself and get yourself a little present, I highly recommend getting Martheus's book that's forthcoming this July. And I guess that's it. Thank you everybody so much for joining. And yeah, I'll stick around in case anybody has any questions about the joy of poeting. Otherwise, I will wish you all a good night. And one more thank you to Martheus. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yes, thank you so much you were a great audience. I really appreciated your comments and your inputs and your patience. So, it's a hard it's a fun job. It's a fun job. So I appreciate you for bearing with me. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Thanks for coming tonight.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Good night, everybody.